Hey there everyone, this is Michael Dougal, the nootropic reviewer, and during this video you're going to learn about 4 nootropics that beginners can benefit best from. Now that you've discovered this wonderful world of nootropics, it can be quite overwhelming. There's a lot of information, a lot of nootropics out there, so I'm going to share with you some of my favorites and some of the ones that I initially started off with. Fortunately, you may not know this, that you're already probably using nootropics. For example, if you're drinking coffee or green tea, there's active ingredients in whatever you're consuming that are helping you with cognition. The specific 4 nootropics that we're going to talk about in this video are all natural substances. This doesn't necessarily mean that they're safe, but we are avoiding talking about things like Adderall and modafinil. But if you want to learn more about those, then be sure to check out some of my other videos. And the very first nootropic that I want to talk about is caffeine and l-theanine. This is an especially popular nootropic supplement because of the fact that when you mix caffeine and you mix l-theanine together, what happens is you get that boost of alertness, that boost of energy that you get from caffeine. But l-theanine, to some extent, helps to eliminate some of those negative side effects that come along with caffeine consumption. And there's plenty of research showing that caffeine and l-theanine, when used together, are going to be effective in different areas of cognition, such as alertness, such as focus, even memory. And it's super interesting because if you're to take caffeine or you take l-theanine independently, you probably may not notice good effects. Like, for example, when people take l-theanine by itself, they feel too calm, they feel too relaxed, they feel demotivated. And then when people take caffeine by itself, often they feel too much anxiety that it actually prevents them from being productive. And let's not forget about that horrible caffeine crash where your energy is down and you experience that brain fog. So the way you would want to use caffeine and l-theanine is by having a ratio of 1 caffeine to 2 l-theanine, such as 100 milligrams of caffeine along with 200 milligrams of l-theanine, and that's going to be responsible for you being very productive because you're getting that energy boost, you're feeling mentally clear, you're feeling calm, so you can stay productive, which naturally means you're in a high energy state, but at the same time you have that tunnel vision focus that you want. One of my favorite uses of using caffeine and l-theanine during the day is, let's say it's the afternoon, maybe early evening, and I feel somewhat tired and I want to use some sort of pick-me-up, but I don't want to feel that negative crash afterwards. Then caffeine and l-theanine is a great supplement. Mind you, I'm consuming about 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine every single day. So I like the fact that this is only 100 milligrams of caffeine, and then I can use my 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine elsewhere. The major cons you want to be mindful of course, is that it is caffeine, so it will keep you up at night if you take it too close to bedtime. And also, it's a pretty inconsistent supplement. I find that sometimes I take it and I feel great. Sometimes I take it, I don't notice it that much. And I would have preferred just taking the caffeine independently, expecting more of an energy boost. Because with l-theanine, it's just a whole calmer experience, which isn't always the best thing. Like sometimes before a workout, I wouldn't want to use the l-theanine. I would just want the caffeine. I don't mind if I get a little bit anxious with it, but I want that intensity and that aggression. The second nootropic supplement that may be appropriate for beginners to nootropics would be ashwagandha. Ashwagandha has been used for centuries actually as a natural supplement to help with stress, help with fertility, and also help with sleep quality. And this is a herbal supplement. A lot of people can notice it working pretty quickly. Not like caffeine though. Of course, with caffeine, you ingest it, you feel aroused, you immediately feel energetic. But what so is with ashwagandha, you have to be a little bit patient with it. It has a pretty long half-life, so the ideal way of taking it is by taking it twice a day, ideally spacing the doses apart. I commonly go through cycles where I'll take it like once at 12 o'clock p.m. and then again at 6 o'clock p.m. And what you can expect is really just feel happier throughout the whole course of the day. It's neat. It's like it improves your baseline mood because you find that you will experience stressors and they may not bother you as much as they typically would. It's like you're calmer, you're more present, you're able to interact people better because of the fact that you're calmer, you're not experiencing anxiety. I find that when I started taking ashwagandha, I would worry a whole lot less. Like especially if you're somebody like myself that has a high stress job, it's very normal that you may go through that stress during the day, and then at the end of the day, once you're finishing work, your mind still feels cluttered, you feel concerned, you're worrying about what's happening tomorrow, your mind is racing. Ashwagandha really helps to prevent that, and you'll notice you're just feeling more balanced because what you're doing short term is going to help you long term, and you're not experiencing some of the worry and some of the negativity that you're typically thinking of with just recurring thought patterns. And I know this sounds pretty wild, but this is one of the most popular nootropic supplements for a reason. There are times when I actually don't take it though because it has some pretty significant side effects, and one being kind of similar to l-theanine in that it makes you too calm that it can be somewhat demotivating. And I've talked more about the ashwagandha side effects in this video over here. For a lot of people, when they start ingesting ashwagandha, the first week they notice they're feeling better, they're in a better mood, but then they look at their business, they look at their productivity, and it's actually somewhat down. And of course, we can see why this is happening because with ashwagandha, we're not experiencing as much stress. Sometimes stress is a good thing. It makes us have deadlines, it makes us reduce procrastination, and helps us to get stuff done. And so what I've learned is to use ashwagandha along with some other good nootropic supplements that would help to boost motivation just so that you can offset that negative effect that you may be experiencing with ashwagandha. This isn't everyone, maybe 30 to 40% of individuals feel that happening. And a common serving size of ashwagandha would be anywhere between 300 to 500 milligrams per serving. My favorite form of ashwagandha is called the KSM 66 because this is a particular extract of ashwagandha that helps me to stay productive while also keeping my stress levels down. It's a somewhat sophisticated nootropic supplement, ashwagandha. There's different withanolides content, there's different extracts. So if you want to learn more about the different forms of ashwagandha. I've talked about them in this video over here. Some of them may help you more with relaxation. Some of them may help you a little bit more with productivity. The third nootropic supplement is called l-tyrosine, and this is the nootropic supplement that's going to be responsible for more focus, actually giving you more levels of motivation. And the way that happens is specifically because it works on the neurotransmitter called dopamine. It actually raises dopamine in the brain, and when dopamine levels are raised, we in turn are more motivated to actually get stuff done. And believe it or not, you can actually feel this working. So there's times, for example, that you may want a pick-me-up, you may want to ingest some coffee. Instead, consider using some l-tyrosine. It may not give you the enhanced energy that caffeine would, but you get a little bit of energy, but you get a lot more mental focus. I'm finding that I'm able to ingest l-tyrosine and I get a lot of work done. And I feel somewhat comfortable taking this nootropic supplement because it's naturally occurring. It's actually found in chicken breasts. It's also found in egg whites. But the magic happens when you take l-tyrosine in free form. So when you take it independent of any other amino acids, ideally in a fasted state, or if you take it 2 hours after your last meal, you should notice something working. And a typical dosage would be 750 milligrams. You'll typically find the capsules in 500 milligrams or sometimes 750 milligrams. People often take l-tyrosine prior to working out as well, because actually using it before working out, especially with caffeine, is going to help with performance, help with focus, and actually help you to burn more fat. So it's one of my favorite nootropic supplements because it actually hits you instantly, and at the same time, it's not stimulating like caffeine is. So there's many times in which it's the late afternoon, I need to kind of grind it out and finish my work, but I just don't have that mental focus and that concentration that I need. I'll use some l-tyrosine, it'll fix that right up. And the side effects that people, I would say, like frequently experience would be anxiety or also headaches. I've experienced the headaches as well, but I was able to fix that by moving from the powder form of l-tyrosine to the capsules. I found that when I started using the capsules, I definitely tolerated it better. I didn't experience those headaches. Again, this doesn't happen to everyone. It's also not super predictable like some supplements, but it definitely is effective. And the fourth nootropic supplement is called alpha-GPC. Now, alpha-GPC is a form of choline, and choline is a very important nutrient for the brain that's found in egg yolks, but it's not that practical to meet your choline intake needs specifically through using egg yolks because of the fact that when you cook an egg yolk, you're actually losing 2/3 of the choline content. It's simply not enough. But if you use a supplement like alpha-GPC, which crosses the blood-brain barrier more efficiently, you can feel it working. And what that really feels like is like mental refresher. It's like as you go about your day, what happens is that your batteries are being exhausted, meaning you're dropping in willpower, you're dropping in concentration. And so you use some alpha-GPC as a supplement, and what happens is you get that boost of focus, that boost of motivation that you need not only for those long work days, but it will also help you to work even smarter during those short work days. And this covers like all things cognition, from memory, thinking, planning, executive skills. There's even some research showing that alpha-GPC may help you to lift more weight. And that's why you see alpha-GPC often combined with other nootropic supplements in a nice nootropic stack. But the good news is that you can also use alpha-GPC just by itself and see some cognition boost. Maybe you'll have improved memory, or maybe you'll just notice yourself learning things a lot faster. The tricky thing with alpha-GPC is you got to find your sweet spot. You got to find the right dosage for you. For me, it varies. Sometimes I'll take 150 milligrams capsules twice a day. Sometimes I'll take it 3 times a day, sometimes even more. But for most people, they're getting away by taking 200 to 400 milligrams of alpha-GPC during the day, split into 2 doses. So I personally prefer taking it first thing in the morning and then also in the late afternoon, something like 8 a.m. in the morning and then again at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And for those very long work days, I don't have any problem with taking alpha-GPC even later and having it 3 times a day, maybe like once at 8 o'clock a.m., then again at 4 o'clock p.m., and then again, say maybe at 10 o'clock p.m. And this really neat study here showed that if you use alpha-GPC during the day, you actually feel more motivated at night specifically, which tells us that it's definitely doing something to improve our willpower and improve our concentration. It's super subtle, this nootropic supplement. Don't expect miracles the same day you take it, but with consecutive use along with objective measures, say you're measuring your business or you're measuring your grades, you'll surely notice that there is somewhat of a difference. I first noticed that alpha-GPC was really doing something because I stopped using it, and then for the following weeks afterwards, I noticed like my verbal fluency wasn't as strong. I had to think a little bit longer in order for me to go ahead and capture that memory that I wanted to articulate about. Unfortunately, a small percentage of people, maybe 20% of alpha-GPC users, do experience really bad side effects. Maybe they feel in a worse mood, maybe they feel some brain fog. If that is the case, then I would say stop using alpha-GPC and look at using an alternative like CDP choline. That's another form of choline that should help you be more productive. And there's a little bit of emerging research showing that there is a chance that alpha-GPC could lead to having more strokes in the future after consecutive use, but this is still an unknown. I've talked about it more in this video right here. What other nootropic supplements would you say that work best for you as a beginner or that you want to learn more about? Make sure to comment that below and be sure to subscribe and drop a like if you did get value from this video. And if you'd like to have a conversation with me one-on-one, you can definitely reach out to me on Patreon or send me a direct message on Instagram, and be sure to visit our Discord server, which has a 24/7 chat room. We're answering questions in a time-sensitive fashion. I appreciate your interest in nootropics, and I look forward to seeing you next time.